Bob, same industry, different market. What's your sentiment on adopting these new technologies in your space?
Yeah, when Stephen was talking, he was talking about some of the old buildings and stuff, and I was having flashback memories of the early '90s when I first started developing controls for HVAC and manufacturing them. And we were one of the first companies to introduce microprocessors for embedded controls for furnaces and boilers and that type of thing. And we were heavy into oil heat in the Northeast U.S. on Long Island and places like that, in which we still are. But I remember some of the techs and companies saying, in their industry, they have an insatiable desire to be second. And that is, let someone else test it all out first. And I heard another fellow say, you know what, I'm happy to use any technology as long as my grandfather used it first. So there's still a lot of that type of sentiment. People are saying we've been doing it this way forever and, it pays the bills and gets the job done. Don't want to change it now. So there's that. And the other end of the spectrum, we have the young techs, people who were brought up in the age of computers and smartphones and that type of thing. And they're happy to embrace technology. So we have different ends of the spectrum as far as the types of people. Our personal experience at Aviexx has been that we get an immediate excitement and enthusiasm from the service companies. They absolutely, quite literally go gaga over what we can do for them. They can see it immediately. And so they immediately start putting it on test homes, on their own homes, et cetera. But when it finally comes to the point where they want to start to deploy it on their customer base, and we're talking residential, light commercial, and so they might have thousands and thousands of customers, the problem we're running into is they don't know how to communicate that to their customer base. So we don't get to sell Aviexx or our technology directly to the end user. We go through the service company, and the service companies are a reactive business model. That is, they wait for somebody to call with a problem. And so the adoption of this type of proactive technology requires a complete paradigm shift in thinking and the way we approach the industry. So that's a big challenge. That's what we're seeing. And I assume that Stephen and Michael are seeing a similar kind of response. That is thinking to prevent problems, preventive maintenance, that type of thing, rather than reacting to problems that happen eventually. But that all aside, we are seeing there is a thirst and a hunger for this type of technology. And there's an absolute necessity because of certain factors that are playing out in the market these days that demand this type of a technological solution. We're talking about things like, I don't know if it's happening in your end of the industry, Stephen and Michael, but in the residential, it's the shortage of qualified service personnel. There's just not enough people coming into the industry. So every day through attrition, we lose more and more qualified service techs, and yet there's more buildings going up. There's more homes being built. There's more HVAC being installed. So how then are these two diverging lines going to ever be reconciled? More buildings, more equipment, less people to work on them. The only solution is technology, and it's the Internet of Things, especially for HVAC.